guys, welcome back to this all new episode of R&D Garage. I am super happy to be back in the warehouse. Obviously, I've had the time of my life doing so many track events in the Hatchie. I think I was averaging maybe one every other week or so. It was getting a little crazy. It was crazy fun. And so we are actually preparing for the K-swap as well, ordering those parts. It's already been machined, like super excited. But in between the time where the parts are starting to arrive and my track day events, we were kind of like racking our brains deciding what to do with our 1998 Supersonic Blue GSR. So as anyone who knows me knows that I'm absolutely in love with anything Honda Acura. I've owned a bunch of GSRs, a bunch of Integras, and this one right here, it really was my dream car because of the Supersonic Blue color, which, you know, is pretty rare. And so we went back and forth. Should we sell? No, it's still got the B series in it. Should we like build it up, maybe throw a turbo on it? I don't know. We're still kind of talking. But one thing is for sure, Dion's probably going to start to drive this because the FJ mileage is just, and that's actually another story in itself that I shall save for another day. Anyway, to get back to Blueberry, today we are doing brakes. Come along. Hey guys, so here I am with the brakes that are going to go on Blueberry. So always when you're purchasing parts, at least with brakes, there are known fake brakes out there, which sounds really funny. But if you're buying Brumbos, buy it from an authorized dealer. If you're buying Hawk brakes, again, either buy them directly from Hawk or from another store that, you know, like Summit or something like that, that you know you're going to get the right item and it's not going to be a fake. Okay, so today I'm going to be putting on my Brumbo brake discs. These are fronts and these are rears. And I'm going to be using Hawk pads, the HPS 5.0, which always reminds me of, like, you know, Mustangs when I hear 5.0. Oh gosh, I just had this horrible vision of Blueberry skidding off into a curb and hitting people, so let's not do that. Anyway, so these, they're basically street pads, almost track pads, kind of a happy medium between both. I have an idea about possibly using Blueberry for drag racing next season. That's where the turbo comes in as well. But again, it's all up in the air. Who knows how much money we have after this season of racing. But anyway, let's get to it. I'm excited to put these brake pads in and brakes because, you know, stopping is a good thing. Okay guys, you know the drill. Every time you're breaking nuts off your car, or lug nuts, I gotta be careful with what I say. Anyway, every time you're breaking the lug nuts off your car, you wanna start with the car fully on the ground. Break them loose, and then you can jack her up. This is just not going well today. Anyway, we'll leave it. Okay, so here's a good argument, because I have a lot of friends that have no problem using, you know, a impact wrench to take the nuts off, the lug nuts off. And I have other friends that are like, no, you got to use your hand tools. And honestly, I'm in the doing it yourself with your hand tools camp. I'm not going to disparage all the other people that want to use the impact, especially on Blueberry. You can see her lug nuts are kind of crappy. Her rims don't look that great. And so it wouldn't be a big deal to use the impact. However, if you have a nicer car and your lug nuts are perfect, you have one of the lugging or the locking lug nuts on, you will definitely damage your lug nuts by using an impact because it just hammers them, you know, when it's like, so, I mean, that was my impression. But anyway, so I'm just kind of giving you, you know, pros and cons of doing it. For me, I'm sticking with hand tools. Okay, so as you can see, the car is firmly on the ground. I'm gonna go ahead and brake these. There's one, two, oof, so let's get a little more leverage on that. There we go. Okay, and the last one. Oh, it feels good to be working on cars again. Okay, these are loose. I'm gonna go ahead and jack her up. looks good. Okay guys, so I got so excited with jacking up the car that I forgot to do jack stands. Like, hello. So anyway, the jack stands are in place. Now I'm going to take off the last lug nut. Okay. Move these to the side. And I'm going to pull off this guy. Let's see. I think I may need to have it's been a while since this was off, so. Oh. There we go. Nothing like a good donkey kick to get a tire loose. Okay, so check this out. This is the difference between a car that's not been very well maintained in its life, and then harken back to my hatchback with the brakes and how clean everything is, and then you work on something like this. And even though she's a blast to work on, you know, I'm so used to working on these types of cars like forever, but you notice the tire was stuck. I had to kick it to get her off. This just, I mean, it doesn't look that great. You know, it looks like a little bit more rust than usual, brake dust, all that kind of stuff. It needs a cleaning, which I'm sure my OCD man over here will be happy to take care of for me. But honestly, I just want to slap the brakes on and go. Let's do it. Okay, guys, impact screwdrivers come in handy sometimes because you know these are going to be like impossible to break or remove. So the first thing I like to do is come over, and I already actually broke these, so I'm not going to do the full thing, but make sure the tip is in all the way, hold it firm, and then obviously be careful of your hands, and then go ahead and tap, and you will hear it. And so that is the way I broke both of these. So now coming over to this. So you know me, I love some Weehawd tools, and they're freaking awesome. And what's great is they have this hex at the bottom of their heavy-duty screwdriver. And so this is going to help a lot because it's going to give you leverage. And so I'm going to come over here, put it firmly in the screw like that, and then you see how it turns. That's awesome. And I'm going to do the same thing down here, and then I'm going to take both off. Beautiful. I can lose that. Turn my back to you. Beautiful. So what have you guys been up to this summer? I feel like I've lost track of my R&D garage family, but feel free to put in the comments what you've been up to, if you guys have been racing, if you have any new projects you're working on. I want to hear all about it. Okay, screws are out. Let's move on. Okay guys, so something about these old Integras I totally forgot about. Splash shields. Okay, so snorty pig in the background. And so what we're going to do is use our 10mm box wrench end. There's a 10mm bolt here and one right here. So let's go ahead and do this. That was pretty easy. And then I think, oh yeah. So that's super loose. I'm going to go ahead and break the other one. And there we go. And that one's even easier. Okay, so they're not very long. Oh, there's the camera. Okay, and there's the other one. Moving on. Okay, so now we got to get the caliper bolt off. But as you can see, the e-brake cable is literally right in front of it. So what we're going to do is take the needle nose pliers, pull out this pin, and then push this one up, and it should just, where we go. Okay, and that slides out. And now we can get to the bolt. Okay guys, caliper bolt time. So they're behind, they're in an awkward position. You know how it usually goes. And so I laid down to get this first one in here. So what I'm gonna do is break it, just like that. And then I'm gonna go ahead and, okay, this one sucks because it's like deep in there. And so I'm gonna have to lay down again and apparently it's been just that long. Yeah, this is why it's also not fun to work on cars that have been out in the elements. Okay, there we go. Now we can pull off this guy and hang him up. Okay guys, let's pull this off. Sometimes we need to hammer it, but I gave it kind of a quick, actually, can you give me the, okay, perfect. And so make sure the brake line or the e-brake line isn't hanging up. And now okay, so for all you Polly fans, we have let the beast loose. So he can now help me with the rest of this job. He's such a good boy. For those of you who have met him at car shows, yes, he is quite the bruiser, and he's like 31 and a half, 32 pounds now. So we thought we were getting a small dog, and we got a small dog with a huge personality. Okay. So you notice looking over here that I've hung the caliper a little bit differently. It was kind of a bear to get up and out, and so what I ended up doing was slipping out one of the pads and hanging it up just like that. Okay, now we're gonna get off this guy, which apparently my hand is like a hammer because now, yes. Okay, so before I pull it completely off, remember if it is super stuck, like on this car, it actually should be, get yourself a recoilless hammer and just tap the back, but not necessary today. Let's move on. Okay, so I'm gonna do a little bit of cleaning here, get all the dust off, and then I'm gonna go attack the caliper as well. So remember, it's just a little bit in the ridges like that, in the holes, because there is some disgusting stuff going on here. And be careful with this because it is a wire brush, and so you could actually poke yourself. And then I'm gonna hit the hub in the middle. So I'm just gonna finish up a little bit here, and then like I said, attack the caliper, and then we'll be ready to go. Okay guys, welcome back. So as you can see, everything is perfectly clean now. We've got the backing plate all scrubbed up, got this all scrubbed up, the caliper is all scraped up, looking good. Now you saw what shape this was in when I first started, and I was like, not frustrated, but I was like, oh man, this is a job ahead of me. I don't know how you Rust Belt guys do it, men and women, because, you know, to me this was a long, complicated job to clean it, and it took a little bit of time. But you guys, oh my gosh, you probably need like a blowtorch, so it's crazy. Anyway, another benefit of living in expensive California. So, okay, as you can see, this is clean. Let's move on. Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to do is open up your hood and check the master cylinder. You don't want it overflowing once you screw in the piston, and so if need be, you can even siphon a little bit of fluid out of the master cylinder. Okay, once you have that, this is like literally the weirdest looking tool because it looks like a little toy, but this is what basically you're screwing in the brake piston. And I already did this side, but it's super easy. You just come in, make sure it locks on, and then, I was so hoping that wasn't gonna happen. But yeah, minus the part where it like jumps into the brake cleaner. That's what you wanna do. Hey guys, welcome back to this episode with Miss Blueberry getting a new brake job. So you'll notice we look slightly different, or I look slightly different. So we basically ran out of time to finish the other side because we had to work on a little bit of hatchie to get her ready for racing last weekend. That's a whole other story in itself. But for now, let's continue. We are on the other side of the car, and as you can see, everything is taken apart, but now it's time to grease. So what I'm gonna do is take one of these Q-tips, and the grease, Paul's right over there, so he sees the grease, he knows he can't come over, so you're gonna hear some pig snorts. Anyway, so we're gonna take the grease, come, and all the polished sides, like the metal sides, that's what we're gonna grease, as well as 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's get started. And it's gonna be so nice to be able to drive this car again. Get it all nice and greasy. Feels good working on cars. And now, basically, the season is pretty much done for the hatchie as far as the big track, which I'm sad about. I was about to say excited. I don't know why I'm excited, but the reason why I'm excited is that now we can work on the K24. So what we're gonna do, remember, don't get any on the big guy here. Okay. I'm like trying to, I've got so much to tell you guys that I'm like concentrating on too many things at once. Okay. Okay, getting that greasy. Let's go ahead and top these off. But let's just get a little bit more grease. But yeah, we've been stockpiling parts for the hatchie. But at the meantime, D uses the FJ as his daily driver, and he's sick of how much gas is costing right now. And so that's why we're getting Miss Blueberry already. So it looks like he's probably gonna be driving this. Okay guys, let's move on. Okay guys, now we're gonna slip the 2 pads in. So when I was working on the other side, we filmed a little bit of it, but I was getting so frustrated because I was trying to put these in the actual holder and then snap it in all together. You know what? No, this is so freaking easy. Okay, so what you're gonna do is take the first brake pad. You're gonna put it, obviously, that side against the rotor here, and it basically just goes in like that. You're not going to hear a click. It's basically just not really being held there in place, but it's just there. I'll explain later. Okay, let's put this one in. So now this, with the metal little wing here, it has to go under, and then it fits exactly like this guy. Look at that. They're basically in. Okay, now I'm going to take this off the holder and show you even how easier this is. Okay guys, so again, make sure your pads are firmly in there. And now we're gonna take off the caliper and make a little noise, and it should just slip in right like that. Look at that. Okay, now, obviously it's not gonna stay there, so we need to put on the bolts. Okay guys, so make sure you're holding this with one hand, make sure it's centered, and now you can put in the bolts. So I'm gonna do the bottom one first. There we go. And I always forget, oh yeah, there we go. Okay, which way it turns. And then the other one is right here. And again, it's always weird when you're working. Okay, perfect. So now I'm gonna go ahead and tighten these up. Time to tighten. Okay. Oh. I don't think I need the extender. It's
You do.
making it. top one, and do you have a rag? I just got pee-peed on by brake fluid. Thank you. Okay. We're just trying to figure out how best to. Now, if that was a spoon muffler, I'd be feeling bad right about now. Okay, now we're going to torque these down. Okay, so now that the caliper bracket bolts are in and they're only finger tight, I'm going to go ahead and torque them. So I believe these are at 80. So we're going to go, well, I'm going to see if I can even push it down. I may have to use like my foot or something. But again, so the first one is right here. Ow. Ingenuity, people, ingenuity. Okay, so we've got the top one. Now we're going to go to this one down here. Okay, so I had D finish off the last one. It was just too heavy for me. So now we're doing the caliper bolts to the caliper, and they're at about 28 foot-pounds. And so these should be slightly easier. Let's see. Okay. There we go. Much easier. I hate these swivelly things. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, moving on. Okay, I just wanted to correct something really quick. So if this was the only brake job we would do, we would definitely be bleeding the brakes, but we still have the front brakes to do. So that's why I was just like, okay, put on the tires and go. So as soon as we do the front brakes, then we're gonna bleed the entire system. So there you go. Okay guys, so lastly, I put on the heat shield, 2 10mm bolts. Just use an open-ended wrench for that. Yes, I know, it's mommy. And the clip and pin over here is already set on the e-brake. So simple enough. All I need to do now is put the tire back on and we are good to go. Can't wait to see this little girl on the road again. So next up, we're going to be working on the S2K, and after that, definitely starting on the K24 for the Hatchie. I'm so glad you guys are back. It's time to work on cars all season now. So I am pumped. Have a great rest of your weekend, you guys.